How's it going, Matinacock District? This is Jim Maltese, one of your Assistant Roundtable Commissioners. Today we are going to be talking about scouting in the age of COVID-19, specifically for Cub Scouts. No one knows what is going to be happening in September, right? We can't really see the future. It may come off without a hitch and it may be back to business as normal, but I can't see that happening. So we need to start planning, and unfortunately that means planning twice as much as normal, because we need the regular plan, hopefully the fun plan where we can all get together and have a good time and do what we normally do. But we also may need to come up with a plan B, and that is, what if schools or churches say we can't use their buildings anymore because of cleaning or just liabilities or whatever, and we need to come up with a new meeting place? What if we have to continue virtually meeting only? And what if we can only meet in small groups? So maybe dens, or have to split up dens if they do get too large, or just focus more on dens and not packs. So first, let's talk about needing a new place to meet. For September to December, and then starting again maybe March, probably April, this might force us outside, and that might be incredible. You know, this is what scouting is all about. If we meet at places like for Matinacock West Hills, or even if we get a little bit more adventurous and just meet at parks where we can have campfires and songs and running around, this might be a great opportunity to try more of those things. It'll require more cleanup. It'll require more supervision for just to keep the scouts safe. But it might be really, really fun if we have to do it. The other thing I would encourage you to do is start talking to people at your typical meeting place to really see how you can get those updates about when we can start meeting. Because the sooner we know what's going to happen in September, the better off we'll be able to plan and we'll be able to put contingencies in place. Now, unfortunately, I don't know about you, but the Zoom meetings are wonderful, and they were novel at one point, but especially for little kids, they do get stale very fast. And trying to keep, 6 and 8-year-olds paying attention for 45 minutes, an hour to a screen that they've been looking for school, to talk with their friends, and to just pile on another Zoom meeting for scouting, it's frustrating, especially when scouting is so vibrant and so active and has so much hands-on typically. To reduce it to virtual meetings is very, very frustrating. So if we do have to continue virtual meetings, we really need to rethink about how we approach the Zoom stuff, or whatever platform you're using. Think about more interactive games. Some of the most successful meetings that I've had leading a large group on a virtual platform is when we're playing a game where we split them up into teams, and you call on the teams one at a time, so that you're expecting small groups to interact in an orderly fashion one at a time. So we did a Jeopardy game, and there were teams of 4. And so I called on team 1, and then team 1 could talk, and they were the only ones who were unmuted at the time to see if they can get the Jeopardy answer together. And that really worked well. It got them engaged. They were able to talk to their friends. You didn't just leave the talking up to them, so it devolved into Pokemon or making funny faces at the camera. They had direction. And so that does work fine. Think about other orderly ways to have scouts share what they've been doing, or what adventures they've been going on in their scouting journey. One way to do it that the schools have been using very effectively is Flipgrid. And that is just it's free. It's an easy way for scouts to share what they've been doing from their homes, where they record short little snippets. It gets posted to the Flipgrid after it's been reviewed and approved by the moderator. And it's a wonderful way for scouts to see what other scouts are doing. They get to see their faces, and they get to share what they've been doing. And the scouts love seeing themselves, and they love seeing their friends. And you don't have to worry about any inappropriate things coming up because you have total control about what's getting posted to that Flipgrid. That's what Matinicuk used for our virtual Scout Fun Day by Kathy Braithwaite, which went well. And I think if we start doing that as packs, that could go a long way. Just to let other dens know what's going on and to help the scouts share. And then, of course, social media, like we've been trying to do. And you could also think about improving advancement recognition with this stuff somehow as well, where, we really need to recognize the scouts that are advancing. If we see the videos, they can hopefully get their awards mailed to them and delivered to them as quickly as possible. As frustrating as this online and social media stuff is now because we cannot meet in person, we should also be thinking about incorporating more of it into how we do scouting, because this type of stuff, especially the social media posting and the Flipgrid, can go a long way when it's recruitment time. Because now if new scouts or prospective scouts want to see what you're all about, they can go to your Flipgrid, they can go to your social media page and really see scouts in action, not just the package stuff that the leaders put together. So that could be kind of cool. And another great option would be, if you have a physical yearbook, think about making the yearbook pictures into a video slideshow that you can put on YouTube, that you can put on your Facebook page, or that you can really put anywhere so that you can share. And it's just a great way to get the word out about your pack or your unit. Another option, which is way better in my opinion than just virtual meeting, is small group gatherings. Where we are right now, I believe, is Suffolk County Council has approved groups less than 10 people to get together. And so because we're such family-centric in Cub Scouts, that means probably about 5 scouts or less. So if you have a den of about 5 scouts, this is perfect. If not, we might need to think about splitting into a couple of different den, one den into 2 or something like that, just to maintain that 10-person or less limit. But it is something to think about. This can provide scouts a chance to finally interact with each other, which could be great. We can still practice social distancing, especially if we're meeting in a park or outdoors where people can run around and they can have fun and they can spread out. That is key. This model will rely on the dens more than the pack, which is unfortunate, but it is getting scouting together and getting scouts together so we can have those meaningful hands-on adventures. So I think it is definitely a step in the right direction. This does heavily rely on parents to keep sick scouts at home. And this is part of the problem. This is what we've been doing. We're going to encourage scouts to follow the New York State guidelines in terms of wearing masks, in terms of keeping a distance of 6 to 10 feet away. But something to think about, just an added layer of protection. Is it worth it for the den leader to bring an infrared thermometer to scan everyone before they get together, just to make sure no one has a fever? I'm seeing this a lot in a lot of places of business, and it is just an added layer of protection. So just something to think about. It might be bad for the culture. It might make people feel a little bit funny, and it might single some people out if they do have a fever. But that's what this is all about, is keeping the scouts safe. Something to think about. That I'll leave up to your unit. And the other thing, because we can't meet as a pack, it might be good to capture videos of these den activities so that they can be shared with the pack later, and just really bridge that gap between small group gatherings and when you meet virtually as a pack or as a unit. Yeah, so these are just things to consider when you're thinking about your Plan B. September is rapidly approaching, and we are in a whole new world. Huge things to consider is, what are we going to do for recruitment? Usually we can rely on just an awesome pack meeting to get people excited, to bring people in, to bring new people in and have a really great time. That might not be possible. So what are we going to do about that? Do we rely on Flipgrid? Do we rely on dens? Do we ask the people in the dens to write letters to some of their younger or their school friends to say, hey, I am in a great pack. I would really love you to join. why don't you come check out our small group gathering this Saturday when we hike around West Hills or something like that. It might have to be one-on-one rather than relying on these large group gatherings, which might not just be a possibility. We also have popcorn coming up. What is that going to look like? How are we going to distribute? How are we going to show and sell? All of these things are potentially going to be changing in September. And so, again, it's very important to have a plan B. Do we rely more on take sales instead of show and sales? Is the PAC comfortable with show and sells because it'll be so much interacting with the public? This is something to consider. And then, of course, we always have to keep the scouts in mind. They've been pent up for months. They haven't seen a large group of friends. There may be behavior issues, but I just think it's going to be so good to see them with their friends and with their scouting friends again. I am so looking forward to this. I hope we can continue to do it in small groups. I hope that we can get together in large groups very, very soon. So my recommendation for now is it might be good to push in-person den meetings now before the summer break or during the summer just to start momentum. Maybe you use it as an opportunity to do a rank advancement or something like that, just to get that scouting momentum going for September. So when we might have to change or tweak things in September, at least you'll have that core inertia built during the summer so that you can hit the ground running in September. And as always, keep it simple, keep it fun, and just find new, exciting, interactive, scout-focused ways to keep scouting. So thank you very much. Please shoot me an email if you have any questions, and hopefully I will see you in person very, very soon.